Zayne Parekh might be the most offensively talented defenseman in the World Juniors this year, but talent isn't what worries me. It's the decisions. Because at the World Juniors, you can get away with risky habits early, but when Canada faces faster, more structured teams, those habits don't just show up, they get exposed. So today, we're breaking down why Zayne Parekh's offensive first mindset could be both Team Canada's biggest weapon and their biggest problem. By the way, at Dirty Little Shifts, I'm breaking down the complexities of defense so you can see the game a little bit deeper. Let's dive in. So Parekh has been playing with the Calgary Flames all season in the NHL, and when a player comes down to the junior level from the NHL, there's kind of this respect dynamic that takes place. And this is kind of the first shift for him, and I want to show you what I mean by this. So we have Parekh highlighted and his D partner Reed here. Just watch how Reed gives the puck to Parekh. It's very subtle, but it's just to show you how the respect works. So clearly there's a lot of respect for Parekh's ability as a player. So I just want to establish that off the start. There is a lot of respect for the player, and that could get them in trouble. That could get the team in trouble, giving one player too much respect. So we'll see, but I just wanted to show you guys that at the start. As a defenseman, one of the hardest plays is when you get that high chip to your corner. As you can see here, the puck is going into Parekh's corner. So he does a great play. Like I said, it's one of the harder plays as a defenseman, and you kind of have two options. You can slow down and tie up with the forechecker, this guy here, or you can skate and beat the forechecker to the puck and make the quick pass and take a hit. The second option isn't necessarily the funnest option to take, but Parekh does a good job here, and I'll run it and just show you what I mean. So he gets to the puck, doesn't have to take a hit, but he makes a quick little chip up, and off they go, breakout. And I think it's a very undervalued skill as a defenseman is to make those simple plays, and Parekh does a good job there. Now we're getting into the offensive zone where Parekh's kind of bread and butter takes place, and he's really talented offensively, like I said at the start. And he kind of has that Makar Hughes offensive blue line ability where he can dance and use his skating ability to get players to bite on things. And he's able to do that here against Latvia, not necessarily as strong of a team as they will face. And he still gets a little closer than I'd like. So he has the guy on him. He had two guys on him, and he could have just simply dished it off, but he's still drawing the guy to him. Fair enough. And he's just getting a little risky here when he doesn't really need to be. There's not necessarily a need to hold on to it much longer here. Making the dish here or here right away wouldn't have changed much. Now he's just drawing this guy to him, and a better player could have jumped quicker and possibly poke checked the puck from him. So unnecessarily risky a little bit, but he makes it work with a nice little pass. But it's just little hints of a little too much risk taking. Again, against Latvia, so you can kind of get away with it. Again, Parekh demonstrates, I think it's the same power play, his offensive abilities, but also kind of that risk-taking, too cute nature that I was talking about. And the offensive ability here is he's taking the space. He's identifying the space that's available to him, and he's not collapsing into it. Younger defensemen might have the tendency to move down more, kind of like down in this area more, right away. But instead, Parekh hangs up high and then drops into it, which allows you to come into the shot with speed. So he does that well. That's a good sign of offensive intelligence. But the next thing he does, so here he's almost at the hash marks. And at this point, I know there's no screen, so the shot probability of going in isn't the greatest, but he is coming in with speed directly at the goalie. So the shot option isn't horrible, but he also has a dish to the side here, which wouldn't have been a horrible option. But instead, he's kind of looking for this guy backdoor for a tap in. And that to me, you're getting a little too cute. Honestly, though, he is very offensively talented. But again, it's just that little hint of a little too cute. And when you're in those bigger games, which they'll have later in the tournament, you can't afford to be going for these cute plays. I'm sure if it went in, I probably would have been like nasty goal or something. But it's just those little nuances that you got to just keep it simple sometimes. And doesn't end up working out. So it probably would have been better for him to take those other two options that I mentioned. We're still on the power play here, and Parekh's doing a good job again of staying high. So staying high like he is, And I always tell defensemen when you're at the top of the power play, you kind of want to hang out in this area because that essentially draws this defender up to you, or it keeps him where he is currently, which allows you to skate into your shots more or just give you better passing angles, like here or here. So that is great. I like seeing this. But now my issue is he's kind of collapsing a bit. And this is partly due to the Latvia box collapsing as well. As you can see, it's pretty collapsed and tight. But I would still like to see him kind of move into his shots a bit more. But it is tough. When they collapse like this, you can kind of rotate like he is in this direction to create an open shooting lane for yourself. So it's not horrible, but when you do collapse down like this, it can make passing angles and shooting angles a little more tricky. So it's just something that you can learn. And I'll let it run. And yeah, see how easy it is for these guys to cover these three forwards, where if the Canada forwards were a little more spread out, it would have probably spread out the Latvia box a bit more or allow Canada to get a little bit clearer shots of the net. So that collapse that Latvia is doing is nice, and it's doing a pretty effective job, and Canada's kind of falling into that trap. This play here, Parekh ends up taking a pretty nasty hit. And the thing you can learn from this is when you take a hit, you really want to take it on the shoulder. I know it seems common sense, but sometimes you get yourself in weird positions and you take it in the chest, and that can really knock the wind out of you. And Parekh kind of, yeah, he, in my opinion, should have kept two hands on the stick and kind of drove in with his shoulder to take the hit on the shoulder. And instead, he exposed his chest and went one-handed with the poke, which you can break a rib or even get a concussion from that. So you just got to be careful of that for younger defensemen. Always try and take it on your shoulder. You got to think of that when you're going into the corner or whatever battle, that you got to be ready for the hit with your shoulder. And you can see here, Parekh's pretty shooken up. It ended up being a head check. Not really sure if it was a head check, but you just, yeah, be careful of that, younger defenseman. As I mentioned earlier on the power play, you really want to spread out the defending team's box. And Canada's not really doing a great job of it, and Parekh isn't really helping the fact. So here you can see how tight Latvia is right now. In my opinion, there's no reason to be trying to pass through that right now when you have so much more open ice in this area, or even kind of down here, if that forward would pull out a little more. But instead, Parekh, again, he's getting a little too cute for my liking. And he's trying to pass through that area. And obviously gets picked off and diffuses any type of power play momentum they have going. And then same power play here, they enter in. And typically when you enter in the zone on a power play, you want to slow it down and allow your power play to set up, typically in an umbrella setup or however the strategy is for the power play. And that will give the other team time to set up in their box. But trying to force passes on the power play rush, if you have an advantage on the rush, sure. But when you don't, just slow it down, set it up, buy some time. As a defenseman, there's nothing wrong with hanging out up top here and then allowing your forwards to go set up down low and your D partner get in the zone here. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's preferred, to be honest. But instead, Parekh again gets a little too cute for my liking and turns the puck over. And now Latvia is able to pounce on their power play. And that obviously is a pretty ice-aware pass that he made. But in the NHL, that's a little risky. Against Latvia, you can get away with it. Against the US in this tournament, maybe not. That could be picked off and a scoring chance for the other team. So he's getting a little too cute for my liking. Parekh here puts on a kind of skating edgework clinic, and it's incredible. So he gets the puck, and he's just going to walk the whole outside of the ice. And it's amazing skating. My only issue here is, again, can you get away with this against really good teams? I don't know. And even if you can, is it worth it? Is it not better to just throw a pass up here to your D partner or whoever that is and establish the power play setup and generate scoring opportunities by beating someone with a quick pass or two quick passes and catching a guy in space? I think it is the better option. This does look really pretty and it's really impressive, the skating. But again, I just don't think it's worth the risk and the effort. So I'll let it run. And again, amazing skating and not a great pass. Could have been a turnover, and it kind of ended up diffusing the power play again. So it looks great, but I just don't think it's really worth it. I think there's better ways to approach the power play than just skating around and trying to beat people with your skating. I always say on the power play, you want to beat guys with quick passes. You can always pass a puck quicker than you can skate. We haven't been able to see my favorite topic much so far, but we're about to. Gap control. And Parekh does a pretty good job here. There's a pass that just came up the wall, just up here, and Parekh does a great job of trying to not let Latvia get the zone easily. So he's about to pounce on this guy. And I like that. And just him holding that zone makes 18 here have to change direction. He has to go this way now. And that makes these two forwards over here have to lose all their speed. So just him holding up the zone there has completely diffused any zone entrance speed that they had. So it's very subtle, but that is great defensive abilities right there. And that rush was completely stopped just from him holding the zone there. So great work. And now that was a questionable little dish to Parekh. He kind of got sewered there by his forward, but I think it does go to show that Canada is really focused on feeding him the puck. Like I said at the start, it could be really helpful for them, but it could get them in a lot of trouble, putting a lot of puck possession into his hands because he is a little bit of a risk taker. So now his D partner gets the puck, and I love to see that Parekh is taking the open space. So he gets right down low there, and he's being an outlet for his D partner. He's hoping for a reverse back. He's probably yelling reverse, back, something, because you really got to always communicate to your D partner, especially when he has tight pressure on him like that. And he keeps hanging out back there as an outlet. And now, as the defenseman, when the puck is in this part of the ice, like it is, you have to be decisive and assertive. And I love Parekh's confidence here. And he just grabs the puck. He's not going to dilly-dally with it. He's going to grab it and be assertive. Just watch. And he comes out of the crowd. So again, young defenseman, take note when there's uncertainty around your net, take charge. Get it, move it out quick, get assertive with it, but just be hard on it and decisive. This is a bit of a tricky play for defensemen. So it's right off the draw, and we have two Latvia guys about to be blowing the zone. And we also have this guy down low here, clearly winding up for some sort of a chip out or high off the glass kind of thing. And the other thing as a defenseman you've got to take note of is where your high guy is and where he's looking, where his speed is going. And clearly this guy is below the two breaking guys. So as a defenseman here, you have to be very, very careful of holding the blue line and trying to block this chip out. And Parekh kind of, again, takes a risk and tries to hold it in. So watch. Comes up and he misses, and now he's caught. So this is about to turn into a 2-on-1. Again, thankfully, his skating is incredible. Latvia doesn't have that breakaway speed like some other teams might have. So Parekh is able to catch him, but just barely. And this is a pretty decent little opportunity for Latvia. So that was a questionable play. Again, taking a risk. You can take these risks against Latvia, but against other teams, you'll probably pay the price or come a lot closer to. But next, I just want to show you guys a nasty, nasty little pass that Parekh does. And it just shows how offensively talented he is. So just watch, I'll walk you through it. So I don't even know how he identifies this, but he is about to make a dirty little backhand pass. Boom. And I don't even know how you teach that, but pretty nasty. So that kind of cancels out the earlier part of the shift. The puck down low here is about to come up the boards, and Parekh makes a nice pinch. I like this pinch because he has the high pressure here, and he has a pretty good chance at getting the puck. So when you pinch as a defenseman, you either have to be 100% sure you're getting the puck or the body. And then the other thing you got to be aware of is where your high pressure is. So honestly, I don't hate this pinch. It's pretty solid, but my issue is what happens next. So here, he obviously didn't get the puck, but he's got the guy. So I'm happy with that. But next he gets muscled off the puck. See how he just loses this battle? And as defenseman, good positioning, and you don't have the puck, is you have to be between the offensive guy and your net. And Parekh just kind of gets lazy here, out of position, and loses his overall defensive position. So watch. And now he's stuck. And he can't gain this positioning back because the Latvian forward does a good job of boxing him out. So right now, Parekh is on the bad side of the net and the offensive player. And now he's kind of screwed. And watch, he cannot get the positioning back. He cannot get on the other side of him. And that little battle he lost created a breakaway. It's just, you got to be aware of being between the offensive guy and the net, even in the offensive zone. It's pretty much whenever the offensive team has the puck, you want to have that positioning. So I don't really like that Parekh lost that battle. You're up by a goal, third period, you got to win those battles and maintain your positioning. I always talk about using the net, i.e. the seventh man, as kind of like an interference pick player that the ref can't call a penalty on. And when you don't have that option, Parekh shows a cool little move. You got to be careful of where you place it on the player's body, but watch Parekh's outside arm. See how he's sticking his arm out like that? It's essentially allowing him to extend his box out on the player and not allowing him to get that inside pinch, because realistically, this Latvian forechecker wants to get his feet and shoulder on the defensive side of Parekh. But just sticking your arm out like that, and again, don't hit the forechecker in the face with it. Just use it to block his stick and his body a bit, and it basically allows you to get that step on the player. He does a great job. See that? And now he's able to get his positioning fully in front of the other player, and the player can't even get to the puck at all. So it's just a cool little play that you can use. Just be careful of kind of where you place it on the forechecker's body. I'll play it one more time just so you can see it at full speed. Yeah, see how he puts his arm out? Guy's stick can't even get to him, and out of the zone they go. As defensemen, when you have the puck, you really need to utilize fakes. I'm sure it's the same for forwards, but I don't analyze forwards on this channel. When you use your fakes, especially in your corner or on the blue line, it really helps buy you time and kind of frees the forechecker or the defensive player on you. Parekh demonstrates this perfectly. And just see how the Latvian guy just froze. He's just kind of stuck here right now. And this buys Parekh all of this space right here. And that's where you want to be as a defenseman taking a shot. It gives you the best angle on the goalie, the best angle for tipping, and defensively, if something goes wrong, it's the best place to be because you're closest to the net, theoretically. And Parekh just makes a nice little shot. And that's all that time was from just that little fake he did. So when the forechecker's coming at you straight on, just a little fake like that, it won't slow you down, but it'll get that forechecker to stop skating for that split second, which will buy you that split second. When it comes to face-offs in the offensive zone, as a defenseman, you want to give yourself the best opportunity to get the puck, because sometimes the center will win it really quickly out to you. And if you're too tight to the draw, the chances of you picking it up are a lot less. I did a video on Bouchard making this mistake before too. I'll link it up top. But watch the subtle little thing that Parekh does. He slowly starts creeping into this area, and this ends up getting him in trouble. So watch. See how he's slowly moving in? And now, when he was up here in this area, it's very subtle, but his angle was much better. So when you're up top here, the angle you can get it is kind of like this and like this, but just moving in that little bit, now his angle's kind of like, that line might not be the most accurate, but like this and like this. Again, it's subtle, but this little bit of space between these two lines here can mean the difference between getting the puck and not getting the puck. And watch what happens. He misses it. So like I said, if he was kind of back in this area where he started, the likelihood of him just kind of taking that quick step that he's doing now and getting the puck is a lot higher. So very subtle, but stay up higher. Unless it's like a specific set play that your coach has, staying up higher on the draw is better. And down it goes. OT now, and Parekh is going to be kind of quarterbacking the power play here. So it's going to be 4-on-3. And when the defending team has 3 on their penalty kill, it changes the dynamic. It's no longer a box. It's kind of like a pyramid, pyramid. And it changes the dynamic, but the fundamentals on the power play are still the same. of trying to beat someone with a pass and spreading out their penalty kill setup. And this time Canada does a good job. So we'll let it run here a bit. And see how high Parekh is staying here? And that is going to allow for kind of this passing lane here to be more open, which is going to lead to the goal. So this, again, Parekh being up high is drawing this guy from here to here, which again is opening up this pass. So just keep an eye on it as we let it run. And Canada scores, overtime winner. But it started here with Parekh hanging out up high. He wasn't creeping in like in the earlier power play. And it is 4-on-3, so like I said, it changes the dynamic, but it still opens up their setup and creates easier passes. So that's it, guys. And Parekh's offensive skills are clearly undeniable. His skating, his vision are amazing. But if his positioning and risk-taking don't tighten up, that same aggression that makes him so offensively dangerous could be exactly what cost Canada in those bigger games later in the tournament. As always, thanks for checking out Dirty Little Shifts, where I'm trying to teach you the complexities of defense so you can see the game a little bit deeper. Hope you enjoyed.